Hello, hello. Happy Monday. It is a Monday. I've been running around like a mad woman all day. Hope you guys had a great weekend. Thank you for joining me. If you are joining me today, it's all about attacking the back hacks. There was a bazillion things that I could use to rhyme for this session. But I would say over the almost 15 years I've been using vibration plates, probably one of the main reasons people of all varieties of life continue to use their vibration machine is because of what it does for their back. A lot of my guys in my area are very manual labor, rig workers, and they're very physical all day long. The last thing they want to do is exercise, but they do have, overuse issues, weight issues. There's all kinds of things that can affect our back. We sit too much, we stand too much, we lift too much. Maybe you've had an injury, maybe you wiped out on your dirt bike. So there's lots of reasons we can cause injury to the back. Today, I want to talk about a few ways that you can use your vibration plate and some of other Lifepro tools that I recommend specifically to target your back. And it's not always a workout. If you've got a vibration plate, if you've got an Aleva Red, if you've got yoga rings, there's all kinds of different things that Lifepro has now that can give you relief from a therapeutic standpoint. The beauty of a vibration plate and some of their exercise tools is fixing the back as part of the equation, but making it stronger and working on prevention is the other piece of the equation. So if you are joining me today, let me know where you are from. If you have a back injury that you're currently dealing with, you've had in the past, you're looking for tips, today is the day to drill me with your questions. I will go through a few basic things that will serve as a relief as well as a way to strengthen the back and the core as a whole to help improve and prevent issues down the road. And a lot of it, like anything else I discuss, it really depends on you, your range of motion, and other things that you may be dealing with. So there's never any one way that's perfect for everybody. There's never one program or setting. We're all different beings, and how the machine feels to us, our sensitivities, they all vary. So I'm going to show you a few modifications. And if you are dealing with severe chronic issues with your back, there's a lot of misconceptions out there with a vibration machine, especially by some of our caregivers that, oh, you've got osteoarthritis or degenerative disc, and oh, a machine is just going to crack and obliviate and smash your bones. Absolutely not the truth. In fact, a vibration machine, there's tons and tons of research about it, how it can alleviate not only short-term issues, but relieve chronic issues related to your back. And it's not the machine and specific, it's you, what you do on it. The machine, of course, is an environment that makes what you do on it easier and kinder on the body, and gives you a little bit more benefit in less time. So it's, think of it as an exercise hack. Today, we're going to show you a few hacks for your back. So I'm going to start with, like I always do, for those of you that have absolutely no range of motion. Perhaps you're dealing with lots of inflammation, or you've had a setback and you're kind of out of commission with your back right now. The first place to start, of course, would be seated. If you are down and out and you've done something to your back, guess what tends to happen? You sit more. It's hard to stand and sometimes even go to work if you've put your back out. It really is debilitating. If you've never dealt with a back issue, it's sometimes hard to relate when people do have a setback and how non-functioning they may be for a period of time. So the biggest advice when you're dealing with back and spine issues, and it's something I bring out in all of my sessions, but reducing the intensity of the machine, regardless of what speed or level you are using, your feet in the oscillating movement, which is what we always discuss in our sessions, because all of Lifepro's machines offer them. And it's actually kind of in the long run the best way to fix your back. It's the most, it mimics how we walk. It's kind of a natural movement. But if you stand really wide on your machine and you've been using it in this fashion for some time, if you've had a setback with your back, the quickest adjustment or the first adjustment that you should make is reducing the distance between your feet, which reduces what we refer to as the amplitude. That's how much it's moving you up and down each time. That's what increases or decreases the intensity or the strength of any speed. So if you are dealing with a back issue, it's really, really common. The body wants to guard and protect. So we have a tendency to like tense up and fight and resist the machine. And what you want to do is hold a very relaxed position, and we'll progress to how you stand if you are dealing with a back issue. But what I would suggest, if you are very chronically in pain right now, try in a seated position. I don't want you trying to get down on the ground or do any fancy positions that you can't get yourself out of. And just see how you tolerate this. If this is feeling okay, I'm going to suggest a mid to a higher speed. The faster you go, the smoother, the less choppy it's going to be. But be mindful of your feet. You're always in control. Bring them closer together. And I always show if you want a little bit of upper body action, maybe you are spending more time seated and you're just unable to stand at this time. Just by adding the elbows, you're going to get a bit of a mild sensation to the neck and the shoulders. And if you lean forward a little bit, you will feel it slightly in the spine and up on the top of the hips. So see how you tolerate that before you progress to other things. Standing, if you are able to stand and you're walking around, you know, the pain is there, but it's tolerable. The next progression would be what I call a low back position. The knees are undone. They are never locked. They're slightly bent, but they're as tall as you can get them without locking. And I just want your feet as close to the center as possible, again, to reduce the intensity. And all we're going to do, depending on where the area of your back is being affected, this is primarily going to be in those hips and the low lumbar area. We're just leaning forward at about a 45-degree angle. And what it does, as opposed to standing on your platform like this where the legs are absorbing the movement, by shifting your position slightly, you're going to feel it in that low back and the hips. If you have your issue more on one side than the other, you know, swing your hips to the left or to the right. The more you kind of learn to wiggle and move yourself around in your position, you're going to be able to just send the stimulation where you want the relief. If you are feeling comfortable and you're very stiff from sitting or an injury to your back, one of the exercises I'd like you to try doing, if you're able to stand and do that position, just standing fairly tall with the knees a little bit bent, is also going to be tolerable. If you're finding at this point fatigue or other issues are setting you down, you could always sit back in your stool, have that for safety. But try a couple of pelvic tilts or a couple of circles with your hips. Start, now that you've had a minute or two to get the blood and the lymph going, see if we can just loosen things up and get a little bit more range of motion going. You could, while you're in this position where you're leaning over, you could tuck forward the pelvis and arch up like a cat. Go the opposite, stick the bum out and arch the back. Just get some movement in that spine. All the machine is a stimulus, okay? If that's feeling good. Another thing, if you're stable on the platform, that I like to do is go a little bit further, just until you feel comfortable. If you're dealing with a tender back, it's not necessarily about stretching the hamstrings and showing me how you can touch your toes. But you may need to go a little bit deeper to target the area. See, the taller I stand up, the more you'll hear it in my voice. The other thing that feels really good while you're standing here, if you find that you are loosening up and things aren't as terrible feeling as they were when you started and you feel comfortable, you could widen your feet up a little bit. Again, you're always in control. So if you feel you've loosened up and you want to take on a little bit wider stance, you know, do that, but don't go super wide. And just do some torso twists now. So your hands are on your hips. We're going to turn left to right. I just want you to get some movement and some into this area. So you can just stand there. You can just do this as well. But if you can add a little bit of movement, you're going to get more bang for your buck in the same amount of time. Some of these I have shown you before, but I like to do a recap. If range of motion allows, we're going to progress to another exercise. And I would suggest, because we're going to put our knees on the platform, that you pad it up with a mat. If you didn't get a mat with your machine, or you don't have a mat because your dog chewed it up, just a good thick yoga mat or a bath mat, something that gives you a little bit of cushioning on the knees. And what we're going to do is kind of like a cat-cow. We're going to get up on the machine on our knees. We're going to put our hands on the floor in front of us. And as opposed to when you're standing on the machine, the hips are moving this way. When you bend over at the hips and get on all fours, the hips are being moved in a different direction. So this is one of those moves where I want you to experiment, see what feels best for you. You can lean back and get a little bit further up the spine. You can go forward and you'll feel it move more towards the hips and the tailbone. Just play with your angles. While you are here again, let's add that movement to the spine, that cat-cow. So we're going to arch, pull the pelvis forward, hold, 2, 3, and release. Come back the other way. Hold, 2, 3. And, any of these exercises may very well offer relief, but I always say if you're dealing with pain and your machine has improved things, don't stop doing these things. This is the stuff that you just need to keep doing to keep these areas strong, flexible, and do the preventative piece as well. Don't stop just because you've gotten relief in a day or two. And for those of you that have a little bit more range of motion, there's a little add-on I always love to do with that one. Just a little bit of a stretch. Put my arms out in front of me. And you'll feel it. If range of motion allows, okay? If you are dealing with a back issue, it's never the getting down on the ground. It's the getting back up. So make sure that you're getting yourself into a position that's safe. Don't take on more than you're ready for, okay? The next progression is sitting on the machine directly. Now, I don't use a mat because I have enough padding built in. I always have my dials between my legs versus behind me because sometimes when I'm sitting on it, I get into it and I lean into it and I speed the machine up or I turn the machine off. So for this one, with your bum on the machine, oh, I hit the button, see, with my leg. Again, when I'm sitting on the machine or I'm doing massage positions, you could tolerate a higher speed or level than when you're standing on the machine. It's kind of a passive thing. Sitting on the machine, there's a bazillion different benefits, but specific to the back, this is getting it a little bit more directly in contact with the hips, the low back. You'll feel it's just a very nice, soothing, relaxing massage. Now, if your feet are closer to the center, you're not moving as much. If you widen your legs up like a V, you're going to feel the intensity change a little bit. Completely depends on you. If you have head or neck sensitivities, the machine will not harm you, but you may harm yourself in freaking out thinking that it will. So just relax. If you find the head vibration, you're just not used to it, it's too intense, just lean forward slightly and get a bit of an angle in your spine and it'll almost completely dissipate, okay? So this is an easy one that you can add on to an existing routine. If you just need a little bit of relaxation, you can do this a couple, 3 times a day as a spot treatment on its own. If you are in very severe pain and stiff, you may want to do one of the standing positions before you get to this. But a lot of my ladies will do this for skin tone. Some of my families do it for spasticity in the legs. For you with back issues, it's just another reason to sit on the platform. It's going to give you some really lazy relief if range of motion allows you to get down here. Now, the very last one I want to show you, if your area of concern is lumbar in that low back, again, I don't use a mat to massage, but if you feel comfortable and would prefer, you can put a mat down. We're going to get that lumbar area directly on the machine. It does require a little bit of upper body stability, or you may want to prop yourself up with a couple pillows. But to get into the position, just put your hands behind you, get your feet on the ground, shimmy your bum forward about so you're sort of halfway in the middle of the plate. You're going to come down on those forearms, and then you can lift, okay? You're getting the low back, the lumbar in there. If you're finding it's comfortable, you can lean in on one side or the other. I have a button on the back of my jeans, so don't wear stupid pants when you're doing this. There. Yeah, that's better. And then, like I say, 2 to 3 minutes for any of these positions as a standalone is probably going to be more than adequate time. Any of the seated ones where we were laying on the machine or we're putting the low back on the machine will certainly also help with skin tone. That's a bit of a longer term effect. But what I would suggest, if you are dealing with skin tone or that tire, once you're in this position, feel comfortable to move forward slightly. It really depends on your own tolerance, but you want to make sure you got from the lumbar kind of to the back of the hips on the machine. If you want to do a little bit more skin tone, you can move on a bit further, almost, two-third or a third of the way up the back. You may feel the movement sort of bouncing the air in your lungs around a little bit, and it kind of makes you cough or tickle a little bit. A lot of my clients with COPD actually like doing this position, but know that it's normal. You're just moving your body, breathe, relax, and again, a minute or two on this position if you like it for direct low back massage. I enjoy that one, again, as a dual purpose, not just for back pain relief, but I do it for the skin tone piece. So again, doing these consistently, regularly is going to keep the issues away. If you have had relief using your vibration plate or some of other Lifepro's tools, which I'm going to talk about next, be sure that you stick with it. Not doesn't necessarily have to be an everyday thing, but just because the issue's gone away doesn't mean that you shouldn't stick with a few of these things, at least from a prevention standpoint. So one of the other things I wanted to point out, if you're not using red light therapy already, I love combining everything with the plate, but there's a lot of known benefits to red light. If you have, there's the BioHeal, there's all kinds of different products that you probably are enjoying now with Lifepro. But if you want to combine and ramp things up a little bit while you're doing your plate, the Oliva Red is a great addition. I wouldn't use it while you're laying on the plate, but any of your standing poses, if you want to add your Oliva Red while you're doing your exercises, ramp up those results. I think that's an awesome tool. If you are not home during the day, you travel lots, I think out of all the red light products, I love the belt the most because I can use it in the car. I can use it in a hotel if I want. I can wrap it around my knee. So for me, it's been a very versatile tool, but I know a lot of my back folks are really enjoying incorporating this with the plate. And the other one I wanted to mention, whoa, are the swirl yoga wheels. Okay, I really enjoy these for a couple of different body parts. I'm going to do this on the machine so you can see. I wouldn't use this on the machine, but sitting on the ground and putting this little one, or the mid one is the one that I'm using here. So I just sit down on the ground, I extend my legs out, and I put my hands in the wheel, and I just lean. Oh, you probably didn't hear that, but I just had about 3 cracks. I find if I use this after I've used the plate, I do get the odd crack, pop, which to me is relieving. I'm really bad for cracking my knuckles and my toes. But I really enjoy using this as a standalone or kind of as a last little extra effort after I've used the machine, just to get things stretched back out, because I tend to do a lot of movement. But, for those of you that don't necessarily have somewhere to plug things in, if you don't have the red lights, I've really enjoyed this as just a specific to the back. I like using the little one for under my knees, my Achilles. There's all kinds of different applications, but this one's been a really good one, especially if you're lacking with mobility and some of the standing positions where it's hard to use the vibration machine to touch the toes and do some of these things. You could use this on the couch. You could use this on the floor. There's a lot of ways you can use this if the fear of doing certain exercises presents itself on the machine at this time. So those are just a couple of my ideas. There's a bazillion different ways you can exercise and strengthen your back. If you are using a vibration plate now and you have back issues and you have a routine or a protocol that you've been using, a lot of the exercises and stretches you're doing now can probably be done on your plate, just to get them done quicker and offer a little bit more effectiveness and a few more benefits, like the circulation and the lymph and all that good stuff. So that was a few of my back hacks for today. Again, the vibration plate is going to offer you therapeutic relief, whether you're looking to manage pain, things like that, swelling, just chronic issues. The red light therapy is known to offer that soothing warmth, heat. It's gonna relax the muscles, but it's also a really good way to get a little bit deeper with the infrared capability. And you can use it while you're on your plate to ramp up the results. And it's a great piece to take with you to the office or if you travel a lot and you're not able to access your plate, it's a great tool. And then the yoga swirl wheels. I haven't talked about these in quite a few sessions, but if you haven't checked these out, not only from a fitness perspective, but I think you'll really enjoy. There's a lot of universal applications. Again, I was using the mid size, and I was just simply giving my back a good crack or two after I loosened everything up on the machine. So those are my hacks. Um, I would love to hear yours. I don't know if anyone's with me at the moment right now with questions. It is Monday, and hopefully you're out doing fun things in the sunshine. It is summer. But if you do have back issues and you're watching this after the fact, and you'd like some advice, or if you've got your own back hacks that have worked out well for you using your plate or any of Life Pro's amazing tools, I'd love to hear what works best for you. We are only limited by our imagination and our range of motion. And I will help you fill in the rest if you're trying to do these exercises on your plate. I hope you guys have a great start to your week. I will be back here on Monday for a very interesting session. Sensitivities, anything from neuropathy to Raynaud's. Maybe you've had some nerve damage due to an accident or a medical issue. There's lots of reasons that our sensitivity changes, improves, worsens, and sometimes it fluctuates. So there's lots of ways that you can use many of Life Pro's tools. I'm going to show you some tips on the vibration plate, as well as recommend a couple of other things if you are dealing with neuropathy or sensitivities in general. I invite you to join me on Monday with your questions, and see if I can't give you some easy solutions out of Life Pro's lineup. Thank you so much for joining me today. Thank you, Lauren, and Super Dog Olive, as always. I hope you're feeling better. And next time I see you, and I thank you for your support behind the scenes. Have a great Monday, everybody. Don't work too hard.